Hey, hello, and welcome to the podcast Howling Around. My name is Jeroni, and today I want to talk about the importance of being jacked, the importance of being shredded. Is it important? And if so, why? When it comes to dating, first impressions matter. Women notice things before you even speak. Before you drop a pickup line, she's already clocked five things about you. And you might think getting a six pack is the key to her heart. Well, sure, it might look good, and she might go, "Oh, wow, he looks gorgeous, great body." But is she gonna stay when your idea of a good conversation is yelling "no pain, no gain" at brunch? No, she isn't. And this episode isn't an anti fitness or an anti shredded, anti jacked episode. No, it isn't. But it is about what actually makes a man attractive long term. So, is being jacked not important then? Well, the short answer, we should give credit where credit is due, and fitness helps. Being shredded, having a six pack, having traps, being a big guy, it helps. There's no doubt it absolutely helps. And vice versa. A woman that is in great shape, she's more attractive than a woman who isn't. If you think about it as a guy, of course, being in great shape helps. I mean, if I look at my own dating life, in the periods where I am shredded, where I walk around with a six pack and I post pictures on my Tinder profile, I get more matches than currently when I'm not as shredded as I should be. So it definitely helps. Absolutely. So being jacked helps. Being shredded, being in excellent shape, it helps. But it is not a requirement. I mean, most people would like to, well, most women would probably like a guy who is in good shape, of course. But it's not a requirement per se. I mean, you don't need to be, twice your body weight that you should be, but having some additional weight, that's not a big deal, or it's not as big of a deal as you might think. So being in excellent shape, it's not a requirement, but it definitely helps. What is far more important is confidence, your energy, the emotional intelligence that you have, your presence, humor. Can you listen? That's way more important. So, those are things that you also need to train. It's not only about biceps and having a huge chest. Now, what does being jacked actually do for you? Well, there are a few things. First of all, the visual advantage. I'm not gonna lie. If a guy is in good shape, if he's built like a god, sure, people see that, people notice, and she does too. She notices your traps, but she also notices that your personality is a trap. So you need to work that out as well. And being in great shape will definitely catch attention. I mean, a lean, muscular frame, well, it signals things like health, discipline, testosterone. It signals I'm strong. And those things trigger attraction, right? That's why it is important. I would say it is important to get that initial glance, that initial attention to make a move that maybe otherwise you wouldn't get, or maybe you would have to work a little bit harder for. So, being in excellent shape, it is a bonus. It's not a baseline requirement. Women notice this, but it's not why they stay. It really isn't. But what I think is extremely helpful. And I think this is basically the key when it comes to being shredded, being in great shape, having a six pack, having huge biceps, basically being a big, strong guy. Now, I'm not saying you should all be strong, big guys with six packs, and that's not what I'm saying. But what I do think is important is to get yourself in great shape, in excellent condition. And why? Because it gives you a self confidence multiplier. And this multiplier in your confidence, that is the key. That is what will help you eventually. I mean, working out makes you feel strong. It actually makes you strong. It makes you look good. It makes you more present. It makes you more proud. It makes you more confident. It makes you overall great. Now, that energy, that will bleed into how you talk, how you walk, how you engage with people, and how they interact with you. And that is why it is so important to be in good shape. I mean, the six pack is nice, but the boost that you get in walking and talking and presence and all that, that is what works for you. That is what will help you the most. So, being jacked will help, but it will not cure insecurity. It will not cure your social anxiety, or maybe if you're arrogant. Those are things muscle doesn't mask. It basically means you're a buff guy with weak game. You're a jacked dude with poor social skills. So you need to work on those things as well. Now, signal versus substance. If you're built like a god, but you text like Gollum from Lord of the Rings, she's not gonna call you back. You're basically running a strength build with no intelligence stat. That's not gonna cut it. Now, being in shape, it shows effort, it shows lifestyle, but it's not a substitute for charm, humor, setting boundaries, and your ability to have a good conversation. So, for long term, you should have more than a six pack. I guarantee it. Now, for the short term, I would say being as jacked as you can be is the way to go. It is extremely helpful to be in great shape because it's more about lust than it is about love. And when it comes to short term dating or short term flings, basically we want to have the most prettiest guy, the most prettiest woman that we can find and move to the next one. So if you look the best way you can be, that will help you in short term dating. Because in short term dating, you don't need to hold a good conversation. You don't need to be charming. Basically, you look good, you look good. Well, you want to do it? Yeah, fine. You do it and then you move on. That's basically the black and white version of what is going on. I mean, I've been in short term flings and I've never had really deep conversations because that's not why I was with the woman. I was with the woman because, well, she's hot. That's all it is. So for short term dating, being jacked is extremely helpful. I would even say that's maybe 90% of what would do it for you. So, what being jacked will not fix is your poor hygiene, your lack of style, insecurity, neediness, awkwardness, all those things. So, you need to work on that as well. Now, being jacked versus not being jacked. Let's have a small comparison. Now, not being in shape is less visual pull. Okay? you're not as you're not catching as many eyes on the first attempt. You know, when you walk in into a restaurant, when you walk into a room, you're getting less visual pull. That's basically what it is. And when you are in shape, you have instant visual attention. Now, when you're not in shape, you can definitely win. Absolutely. I mean, there's a difference between not being in shape and just being in terrible shape. Okay, you can have a six pack, you can have just, I'm normal, or you can say, well, I'm 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight. And we're talking about not in shape as in, well, I'm not the best looking, but I'm overall okay. Now you can definitely win with style, charm, your energy, your presence, and often, not always, people who are in less good shape, if you will, I would say have a more developed personality because they had to compensate a little bit for the lack of visual attraction. Now, can you imagine if you have developed a great personality and then on top of that, you have a killer body? You are going to be unstoppable. Now, if you are in shape, like I said, you have more visual hook and you may appear more attractive at first glance. But that is also easily exposed if you're lacking depth. So that is important to work on all those things. You want to be overall a great guy. Body wise, you want to be in shape, but also your personality needs to be in shape as well. So some social skills that you can work on is talk to strangers, learn how to listen. And what absolutely helps is use people's names in conversations. That's how you can work on your social skills. Humor. Watch stand up comedians. Practice playful teasing. Learn how to make a compliment. Learn how to flirt. And style. You know, get your outfits fitted. Wear clean shoes. Upgrade your basic outfits. Stuff like that. Your hygiene. Make sure your skin looks good. Make sure you smell great. All those things. And when it comes to social skills, when it comes to conversation, work on your curiosity. Learn how to ask great questions and be present. Now, what I want you to do, first of all, if you haven't done it already or if you're not doing it already, is I want you to work out. I want you to work on your body. And it doesn't necessarily mean you need to go to the gym, but you got to be a little bit more active. Start walking, running, or do any other activity that you like. But try to be in better shape than you were yesterday, or try to be in better shape tomorrow than you are today. It will help you. Not only looking good, but all the other things that come with it. And that is for your body. Now, what I also want you to do is work on your personality. And something that you can do, it's something that I do. I actually really do this when I say things like this. I actually do it myself as well. And I want you to learn how to tell a good story. And what I want you to do for this week as a little side quest is I want you to pick something that happened to you. Just a small story. Could be something really dumb like I dropped my phone in the sink, or I saw a bird sitting in the tree when I was walking my dog. Something really, really stupid, really simple. And I want you to tell it three ways. Well, let's start with two ways. And I want you to just walk around in your room or even look in the mirror as you tell the story. And I want you to do it in a boring, dry way. Let's say you dropped your phone in the sink. You can just say, well, today, when I was brushing my teeth, I dropped my phone in the sink. Well, that's really boring and really dry. And what I also want you to try is to tell the exact same story, but try to tell it in a more funny, more exaggerating way. Try to dress up the story a little bit and see how that works. See how that works on your energy, on your tone of voice, all those things. So for this week, I want you to work on, your appearance, go to the gym, work out, do something, play some sports, and get a little bit better physically. But also, I want you to put in some reps when it comes to telling an engaging story, even if it is something really silly. And I want you to practice doing the boring version, and I want you to practice a more exaggerating version. All right? So that's it for this week, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye bye.